welcome to Simple SQL. In today's episode, we're going to talk about data relationships in Power BI Desktop. Let's go ahead and start off by getting some data. We'll select Database, SQL Server Database, and Connect. And then we're connecting to our local host and using our learning database. For me, that's Simple SQL. And we'll click OK. And to look at these relationships, let's grab our View Sales by Item and then just our sample sales data and click Load. And you can see we now have both data sets over here in our fields. We've got our sample and our view sales by item. And you'll note that both of these have an item name in them. What we want to look at is the modeling tab up top. We want to click Manage Relationships. And what we'll see here is that Power BI Desktop has already detected a relationship between these two items. It's related them on their item name. So if we click Edit, we can see that our sample set has got the item name there, and our view sales by item has got the item name there. And it's got a thing called cardinality here. And what it's showing us right now is a many-to-one relationship. Now, the types of relationships that are available are many-to-one, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. And what this means is that many means that there are multiple instances of the same item in the set, and one means that the item in the set is unique. And if you'll remember, when we were making this view, we grouped by the item name, so we only have one row for each item. So here we've got a core item in the shop, and even though there were 13 instances, or at least 13 items sold, we only have one row for it here, and that's where the 1 comes in. So what this is saying is there are multiple rows in our sample table, and only one row in our view sales by item with respect to item name. Now, we also have a cross filter direction here, and this was set to single when we started. And what this means is that the single item here in my view sales by item will filter my multiple items here, but not the other way around. So let's take a look and see what that does practically. So let's get a table here. And in this table, we're going to grab the item name from my view sales by item. Okay, and let's get a second table. And in this one, let's get the item name from my sample. And let's also get the date shipped. Maybe get the date shipped. There we go. Okay, so when I click on a core item in the shop in my view sales by item, it filters my sample to just that item, right? But if I click on a core item in the shop in my sample data set, it doesn't do anything here. Okay, so let's go back into our modeling and manage relationships, and let's change that to be both. Okay, and now when I click a core item in the shop, you can see that it filtered the other side of that one-to-many relationship. And again, if we click up here, it still works in the other direction. All right, awesome. So what are some of the restraints on the relationship that we have here? Let's look again. And something I want to point out is that there's only a single column that's relating these two tables together, these two data sets together, right? Now, in some cases, you might have data that requires more than one column to make a unique match. And in those cases, you'd have to do something special inside Power BI Desktop. For now, just know that you're limited to a single column to match your data sets together. And so you really do need data that can be uniquely identified by just one column. If you watched the Getting Started series, you might remember the primary key and foreign key relationship concept. And it's very, very much like that. Another thing that I need to point out is that this has make this relationship active checked. And the reason that's important is that you can only have one active relationship between two tables at a time. So if, for example, my quantity column was something that could be a relationship here, and in this case it can't, but if this could be a relationship, I could not have this active at the same time my item name relationship is active. So only one relationship can be active at a time. Let's go ahead and try and add a new relationship here on that quantity column, right? So we'll grab that. And it has made a many. Yep, that's fine. And so what you can see here is that this one is active, this one is not. If I try to make this one active, it says I can't do it because there's already an active or set of indirect relationships. Okay, so let's go in here, or actually let's just uncheck this, and now let's check this, and now that works just fine. So you can see you can only have one active relationship between two tables at a given time. And let's actually delete this one out. Now, another thing that's important to understand is you can't have any kind of circular relationship inside Power BI Desktop. And what I mean by that is if I had 3 or more different sets of data, I can't link them together. Tell you what, let's go ahead and grab another piece of data. Let's get data and SQL Server. Let's go back to our local host again. And click OK. And let's see, what else do we have that we could possibly link in here? I don't think our sales by state might work. Let's go ahead and grab our view sales by state. Yeah, so we won't have a great relationship, but we can at least show this concept. Okay, so now we have 3 different data sets here. Let's go into our modeling and manage our relationships. Let's make a new relationship. And so sample is already linked to sales by item. So let's also link sample to sales by state. And let's do that on the shipping state. Let's see, where are we at? Ship state. Ship state. And is it? Oh, because it's got nulls in there. That's why it's seeing the many to many. That's okay. All right, so now sample relates to both of these tables. Let's try to relate them to each other. So let's grab sales by item and try to relate it to sales by state. So if I go quantity and quantity, yep, that's fine. It's not active. And the reason it's not active is because that makes a circular relationship. If you kind of look, so sample goes to sales by item goes to sales by state goes back to sample. So we've made a big circle there, and we can't do that. So if these two tables needed to be related to one another, we'd have to get rid of one of these relationships. So if we turn this one off, we should be able to turn that one on now. And so you have to think of it as kind of like a hierarchy, right? So, if you think about your company, maybe the director reports to the vice president, and the vice president reports to the president of the company, but then you can't have the president report back to the director, right? So we can't make a big circle out of our dependencies there. Another thing I want to talk about is the interactions between the different controls on the page. So as you remember, we've got the filter set in both directions. So I can click on something here and filter my other set, and click on something here and filter my other set, right? So what if I didn't want a specific control to be filtered when I clicked on it? Let's grab this table and just hit Control C and Control V. And I made a second copy of that table. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my Format tab and click on Edit Interactions. So I've got this top table up here selected, and you can see now in my other 2 tables I've got Filter and None. I'm going to click None on this table and then turn off Edit Interactions. Okay, now when I click on a fairly popular item here, you can see that it did filter this table, which had the filtering turned on, and didn't do anything to the other table where I turned the interactions off. I was originally also going to cover chart formatting in this video, but I think it would be better as a video of its own. So that's what we'll look at next time. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you later.